Hi everyone, it's Lindsey Baker with the Action Hour. I'm so excited. Tonight I'm bringing you the world premiere of Point Reyes Seashore Has Some Cows. With me tonight, I have the two writers of this wonderful little ditty, and I want to introduce them to you right now. Charity Khan. Charity is a songwriter, singer, performer, teacher, consultant, and on and on and on and on. And Jack Gescheidt, who is the In Defense of Animals USA consultant, but he also is the founder of treespirit.com and many, many other things. He's a photographer. He's amazing. And you guys came together with a fantastic idea. And I want you to talk about it. Who wants to go first? Tell us how the idea came about and all of that. Who would like to go first?
Oh, wow. Flip a coin.
Jack. I'll let Jack go first. Go ahead, Jack.
So,
wow.
How's my
background? I love it. I love the background.
Those are Tule Elk behind me. So I've been involved in the effort to free the Tule Elk from Point Reyes Seashore, and the elk are imprisoned there, in effect, or at least many of them are, at Point Reyes National Seashore, a national park in California, because commercial cattle operations have taken over a third of the park and are responsible for killing hundreds of elk. And I met Charity through this work as activists, and I learned and heard, as you will, that she's a great singer, songwriter, performer, and I've always been a fan of writing new lyrics for old songs. So we joined forces and wrote a song about the situation there to try to reach more people, which is the whole point of activism, just to educate people what's going on there. Then they'll be, of course, outraged and take action.
Right. And what better than a song for people to remember? And Charity, wow. What I really want to do is I want to let people hear the song, because after all, they're probably chomping at the bit. But the whole idea behind the song was to present it to people, or the information to people, in a way that will be palatable, particularly today where there's so much bad news. And so maybe, do you want to just address that real quick, and then we'll jump into it, and then you'll both have lots of time to talk about it for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I already had taken the Old MacDonald Had a Farm, that old children's song, and created a new version called Old MacDonald Had a Sanctuary Farm. So it was about a farm that was a sanctuary farm, and it had some lyrics about that. And when Jack came to me and said, hey, I've got this idea to rewrite the old song, Old MacDonald, with lyrics that are about the situation at Point Reyes with the cows and the Tule Elk, I said, oh, I've already sort of rewritten that song, and I have a musical bed, as it were, that we can sort of place these new lyrics into. And Jack wrote the lyrics, I re-sang the song, and so Old MacDonald became Old MacDonald Had a Sanctuary Farm, became Point Reyes Seashore Has Some Cows.
That is very interesting. And I would like to play it for everyone right now. And there's some folks, you're going to be a little bit outraged when you see this as well. The video that goes along. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the other one. We'll be playing that one next, the Tule Elk one. Getting them mixed up here. You guys are into doing so much creative stuff, I can't keep track of it. With no further ado, let's play the song.
Point Reyes Seashore has some cows, 5,000 cows or so. Oh, Point Reyes Seashore has more cows than any park you know. With a moo-moo here, a moo-moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Point Reyes Seashore has more cows than any park you know. With these cows there comes cow poop, 10 million pounds or so. With the cow pie here and the cow pie there, here a pie, there a pie, everywhere E. coli. Point Reyes Seashore's yearly poop, 10 million pounds or so. And with cow poop comes poison streams for steelhead and coho. With a sick fish here and a sick fish there, here a fish, there a fish, everywhere a sick fish. Point Reyes cow poop direction it all goes. And at Point Reyes, our Tule Elk, no rarer elk you know. Just a few elk here and a few elk there. Here an elk, but there no elk, not everywhere. Our Tule Elk, Point Reyes Seashore has some elk, not everywhere you go. And at Point Reyes, cow ranchers say, keep those Tule elk away. With an elk fence here and a cow fence there. Here a fence, there a fence, everywhere is more fence. Point Reyes ranchers want elk fence to keep elk numbers low. And at Point Reyes, the ranchers pay. Politicians have a price, they say, to huff and puff and clear the way, to mislead voters every day, to keep the ranching scam in play. E-I-E-I-O. But it makes park soils dry and gray, which keeps the wildlife away. This is a sad state there today, but we know a better way to let elk out without delay and move our cows out of the way, reducing methane every day. So won't you help and join the fray to save the earth in every way? Point Reyes cows must you feel sorry for the ranchers. That's really kind of you. But listen up to what went down from another point of view. Oh, they got millions years ago. The public paid them all that dough, and the ranchers just refused to go. And big ag lobbies got their back on public land the cows ransack. It's time for cows to go. Point Reyes Seashore's lawyered up. They talk and talk all day. They talk to keep plain truths at bay. Long briefs hide common sense away. As elk keep dying, they will say that lots of death is nature's way, ignoring fences in the way from Pacific Ocean to the bay. This talk here or talk there, but we know of a better way. Let's let elk out without delay and move our cows out of the way, reducing methane every day. So won't you help and join the fray to save the earth in every way? Point Reyes cows must go.
Amazing. Woo! And I want to tell everyone that was the website where you could go to hear this song. So please, theinvisiblebee.com. We'll be putting up the banner shortly. And there will always be links pinned at the top of this post for all of the links for all of the things we talk about today. So Jack, back to Jack. I know you've been working on this for a long time, and I know Charity, I'm not sure how long you've been involved, but I know your activism is amazing. But particularly, Jack and I have done quite a few interviews on the Tule Elk before together, and I know you've been at this a long time. Talk to our audience who may not be as familiar. As you know, try to take us along the timeline, but as you know, take us along, but not too long. Okay, go ahead.
Give us an arc of the entire the entire issue with all its nuances, but in 30 seconds.
Summary.
Yeah. I saw a documentary film called The Shame of Point Reyes, and 90 minutes, which is not what I have here, let's say it's 90 seconds, gives an overview by a great filmmaker named Skylar Thomas. That's available for free, as is our song, for free download. But it's, in short, I've been involved for about 2 years. I've been a forest activist before that. And then I saw The Shame of Point Reyes, and it just left me aghast. This is a national park near the Bay Area, one of the few, and a third of it is given over to private cattle ranchers for meat, beef, and milk, dairy, and they are, the cows, about 5,000 of them, the major source of pollution in a national park. And a lot of activists came to it first before I did, but I've been involved for about 2 years now. And all we have to do is get the word out to people that how egregious this is and how the businesses have the money to influence and bribe politicians and affect policy at the national level. National Park Service and the Department of Interior out of Washington, D.C. And then they set policy all the way across the country out here in California to favor cows and actually kill hundreds of elk who are being fenced off from water in California's drought. And they are the, as I call them, the bloody canary in the coal mine. And the coal mine, there's the effect of the drought. That's actually about current now, which is there's one last pond that has a little bit of water in it, but it's not enough to feed 500 elk to the 5,000 cows. So again, it's like trying to indict a mob boss or, I don't know, hypothetically, a criminal president. There's so much wrong. Where do you start? I'm not even going to try to narrate all those pictures, but killing wildlife.
We'll come around to them again later if you need to. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Killing the wildlife in a national park for the cattle business. And it's because it's the bigger picture about cattle operations, millions of cows in California, 90 million cows in the country. But that's such a big issue, it's hard to tackle. Whereas if you can point out to people, did you know they're killing the wild animals, hundreds of them, in a national park right near San Francisco? People go, that's terrible. Why would they do that? And that brings you into the larger picture of that beautiful animal. That's a male bull, as they're called, Tule Elk, that are suffering and dying. And it's hard not to go dark on all this, but they are beautiful animals. So that's one of the elk emaciated. You can see his ribs there and deformed antlers, not like the one we just saw a second ago, trying to reach the last bit of water. That was last year, but that condition is happening now. It's beginning to happen again in our hot California summer and autumn.
And then you guys.
So that's what we call the bucket brigade action we did last year. About 75 people hiked in 3 miles, 6 miles round trip in 80-degree dry heat to bring 350 gallons by hand to this pond, to this last cattle pond, to put in a little bit more. It's originally a cattle pond. Now elk drink out of it, but that was the last water in the reserve, and we were trying to help them and, of course, draw media attention as well, because we can't save the animals alone. We have to change Park Service policy, but we do actions to draw media attention, to inform more people and ratchet up the outrage and get something done. And this is a grave marker. Do you want me to keep describing what we're seeing here? It's kind of endless.
Yeah. Well, we're just I'm just showing them as you're speaking so people get an idea. So this was the protest that you guys did.
Yeah, so we were dressed up as
dressing
up. Well, I'd like to, comment on what we're seeing, so I'm not talking at cross purposes to what we're seeing. So this is dressing up as prisoners because the elk are in effect prisoners inside a so-called Orwellian named elk reserve. And we changed that sign. That's a mock sign. Of course, it doesn't say Tule Elk Penitentiary. It says Tule Elk Reserve. And it says something about don't collect antlers. And we say instead the freedom of elk is in fact strictly prohibited. They can't leave the place, and there's not enough food or water inside the reserve. So they've created a big zoo, a de facto zoo, and refused to supply the elk trapped within adequate food and water. And we would much prefer, rather than arguing about the water, just take the big fence down that is put up for the cattle businesses to keep the elk off the cattle land, which really is national park, and let the elk out, and they'll find their way. It's a plenty big park for far more elk than are there. It's just closed off right now, as I keep saying, for cattle businesses.
Right. So thank you for doing that. We're going to go back roundabout again and go through all those issues, and you will have a chance to go through the photos. I'm sorry that bothers you, but that's the way I do it, and people seem to like it. Charity, next question for you is, how did the lyrics of this song? They're amazing, and it had a lot of little bit of Jack in there. I could hear the detail work. Or did you write the lyrics? Because I felt like it sounded like Jack to me, because
lyrics were all Jack, except for maybe one or two tiny changes I made in order to kind of fit it into the musical bed. But yeah, that was all Jack. He's obviously got a gift for gab and a gift for taking a complicated issue and bringing it down into sort of a clever, humorous encapsulation. And that's one of the things I love about the song so much, is that there are a lot of layers to this issue. It's not just, oh, the elk are dying of thirst, or, oh, there are cows at Point Reyes. It's the water quality, it's the fish, it's the ecosystem, it's all these interconnected systems that, when you really dig into anything that you care about in terms of what's happening to the earth right now, you do realize, wow, this is connected to this. There's all this complexity. And how do you relay that information in a way where people don't just glaze over? And I think that that's one of the, the gifts of the lyrics of this song, that Jack took his knowledge of the issue and with the cleverness, with the, a little bit of humor, sarcasm, wrote these verses. And the song as a whole actually really explains most of what's going on at Point Reyes. If you listen through to the lyrics, you'll be like, whoa, that and that and that and that. But it's digestible because it's in the form of a piece of music.
Yeah, it is. It's very palatable, and you can understand. It's a lot of words, but you can follow it. It's really an amazing job, Jack. I want to commend you on that, really. You're welcome.
May I return the compliment to Charity? Because, that's half the story. Words are important, of course, but, compare what I just did, which is talk, 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 versus the magic of music. And my dear friend Charity here, who I've only recently met through this wonderful work, the power of activism builds community, people out in the real world getting to know each other. Hallelujah. Remember that? Before the interwebs? And she can take simple words and, obviously the melodies she worked with, but she's doing multiple tracks and adding effects and subtlety. And it's just to make it fun, to make a difficult issue fun is a unique talent, which Charity has in spades. And we're looking to do several more songs, I might add, which we can talk about later.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And the fact that a song, you remember the words. And if it's like you say, Charity's talent of writing beautiful melodies that you remember and play over and over and over in your head, and then you're saying those words over, so it's kind of brainwashing you like an ad, but in a good way, which is amazing. Let's watch the other video about the Tule Elk, and then that really will give us a lot of talking points. So we'll go from there.
And Lindsey, could I say one more thing too, which is that, of course, for this all to come together, there's more people involved in a production of a really good song. And I just want to call out my creative and life partner, Darren Robin, the other half of the Invisible Bee, and also Charity and the Jam Band on my children's music for, just making it sound amazing. And then also, he and I played the instruments together, and, there's just so many. And I say this because I think that creativity and activism have a real synergy. And I want to encourage people to get out there, collaborate with their creative friends, and have a little fun and celebrate, to sort of mix up the darkness of all this stuff we're dealing with all the time, and, work with other people and collaborate. So yeah, Jack and Darren and me. So together we co-created something pretty fun.
Yeah, I heard backup vocals in there as well. Was that you, or was that someone else?
Yeah.
Female, I thought. That was you?
Yeah, well, we always call them the girls, but it's just me. I always sing my own backup vocals because it's one of my favorite things to do is figure out the harmonies. And yeah, it's just more the same.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Until you come into my band, Lindsey, you and Jane.
We got to talk about that. Yeah. Here we go. Here's the other video.
Want some Tule Elk in Louisiana?
Can you make sausage out of them?
I can answer that one, yes.
Jared Huffman, you better listen to us, cause we are coming. We got the truth on our side, and we're ready to ride it as long as it takes now. Point Reyes is a national treasure, but a full 1/3 of it is leased to ranchers. Some people wanna kill indigenous Tule Elk to protect their profits. Are you for the elk? Are you for the earth? Are you for the future of the creatures and the dirt? Or are you for the systems that threaten all existence? Who are you working for? Who now are you working for? Who are you fighting for? Who are you embedded with? Who are you going to protect, preserve, uplift, restore, defend? Till the end. Oh, till the end. It's gonna take immediate and serious action to protect this cherished ecosystem and ensure that the elk and their habitat future of the creatures and the dirt? Or are you for the systems that threaten all existence? Who are you working for? Who now are you working for? Who are you fighting for? Who are you in bed with? Who are you going to protect, preserve, uplift, restore, defend till the end? Oh, till the end.
Point Reyes is literally magic, and it is under attack by the people sworn to protect it.
We're going to put pressure on our elected. Yes. And the first one we want to pressure is Jared Huffman.
Just tell us the truth, Jared. Just say, I made a deal with some influential, wealthy status quo family, and I gave them my word. Just tell us the truth.
The Park Service that ignores its own environmental impact study results will not do the right thing.
If they're not respecting the will of the people, then what are they doing?
So tell me, are you for the elk? Are you for the earth? Are you for the future of the creatures and the dirt? Or are you for the systems that threaten all existence? Who are you working for? Who now are you working for? Who are you fighting for? Who are you in bed with? Who are you protecting? Who now are you working for? Are you fighting for? Who are you in bed with? Who are you defending? Who now are you working for? Who are you fighting for? Who are you in bed with? Who are you fighting for?
Wow, so much to unpack there. Starting with this first sausage comment that is just outrageous. And these are the people that are supposed to be protecting the wildlife.
They're not.
It's not funny, it's horrific.
As Fleur Dawes of In Defense of Animals put it so well in there, in the middle of all that torrent, if they're not listening to the will of the people, then what are they doing of the Park Service? And just as we continue to unpack this, as you put it, I just want to credit the maker of the luggage, which is, of course, vegan. Tony Sagal of Silver Reaction Media did the editing on that, which is a huge job. Decide where every clip goes, and worked with Charity, and she'll talk more about that process where they went out and did more filming and more of her time and expertise singing again. But I just want to credit the unseen person here behind the scenes. That would not exist without Tony Sagal of Silver Reaction Media. Hello? I can keep going, but I'm not sure I'm live. This is exciting.
Yeah, you are live,
Interesting.
Jack. I'm sorry, my mic went out for a second there. What I said, I asked you is, I know there's a lot of videos that you've played. Was that the same individual you were just referring to and crediting? The photographer that shot all the video of the elk not getting the water and dying, and the skeletal pictures you had sent previously?
Tricky. Thank you for asking, Lindsay. There's actually 3 different people in the description you just gave. There's Tony Sagal, the videographer. There is, I referred earlier to the video that opened my eyes called The Shame of Point Reyes. That's another videographer named Skylar Thomas. And then there were also photographs of horribly, macabre photos of dead elk by Matthew Pulverosa Klein, who's a professional photographer. So a lot of people, as you can see from all those images, hundreds and hundreds of people are involved in this now. And you, dear listener, can come this Saturday. We'll talk more about that later. This Saturday, if you're in the Bay Area, and join that group of people in helping with the next elk action.
So it's this Saturday.
11 o'clock in the morning at Pierce Point Ranch, which is on the maps, rather than go through a lengthy description that they won't remember.
Yeah, we can put we can put up a link, as I said earlier. I was trying to share the website for the idausa.org, the elk link to the website, and it's not coming up. I'll keep trying on that while we're talking.
Yeah.
But
So there's always a lot of URLs for people these days. I just chose the one that's the simplest, which is IDA, which is In Defense of Animals, idausa.org/elk.
great, that's great, and I'll get that up there. So
Thank you.
let's have Charity talk for a few minutes about the whole process. I saw you were filming with the calves. So you actually went onto the dairy. Can you talk a little bit about that? You actually went on the dairy farm in the area where they have all the calves isolated. Would you just describe that experience for a moment?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So when I wrote this song and recorded it, and actually was inspired by Diana Oppenheim, who started the organization For Elk. She was my housemate for a long time, and that's how I got into this and was hearing about this horrible stuff that was going on at Point Reyes. And as a vegan, I was, of course, immediately drawn in. And I wrote the song, recorded it, and then met up with Tony to discuss creating a visual for it, because we thought it would be pretty, as you could see, very powerful to put the visuals of what's actually going on at Point Reyes, both in terms of the activism, but also the harm to the elk, to the cows. And, we traveled around Point Reyes, went to the beach and went to the ranches, and we spent about a half hour near the calves. And, I just cried the entire time and spoke with them and did compassion meditation and sent love. And, it's just, you don't know what to do in that moment. It's so horrifying and painful. And then I climbed up on those tires, which were right next to where the calves were, and started singing again, because that's what we do. It's like we experience the grief, see the horror, take it in, try to integrate it, and then maybe try to do something about it. And, that's why I do this work. So, but yeah, I still get really upset whenever I see the video, and that's a drop in the bucket for what's happening for animals out there. We know that.
Yeah, and I think it might be good now. We'll go through some of the photos. Jack, one of the things I did want to ask you is to give us an update, exactly like where are the elk in terms of water right now? I mean, how much water do they have left? How many of them have water? What's the chance of the fence coming down? Like, what's the latest with all the proceedings that have been going on and back and forth? What is the latest?
Thank you for the question. I also just one factoid to go with what Charity said. Point Reyes National Seashore, a national park unit in the park system, is the only park unit in the country with an active dairy operation inside it. The politicians would excuse that and say, well, it's a unique test of blah, blah, blah. It's like, the figurative BS to go with all the literal CS, cow poop that's in the park from that. And then, as Charity said, it's also to those vegans here who know that, of course, but in case there's people who are kind of new to the vegan world, you get milk by taking a baby cow away from its mom. That's how you get the milk. You take it away, and then you take the milk from mommy. So it's a cruel business from the start. Anyway, to answer
thus we were showing this picture of the baby calf being taken away, and
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, our viewers that watch often know about that process, but it doesn't hurt for the folks that are not as familiar. Thank you for bringing that point up. But
Sure.
There are a lot of environmental, for the people that feel, which to me is unimaginable, people feel that, it's an animal. They're not a human. They need to also be told about the environmental impact on it and what the future of their children, not to mention the children starving because grain is fed to cattle instead of being sold at a price where their parents could afford it. So they're starving in their arms while the grain is being sold to be fed to cattle. So there are a lot of aspects of this, and bringing this up all the time. We find it, whether I'm talking about to people about the wolves or the bears, coyotes, it's all about infringement on, most of the time, cattle ranching, sheep herding, anything where there's an enterprise involved. But as you say, in this case, it actually is on a national reserve. Of course, I think there's a lot of actually horse up in Nevada. There are the reserves are being reduced in size. So, this part of the park is separated, but they're being reduced in size, and that's the fight up there for the wild horses. But as you guys say, it's the same everywhere.
It's the same whether it's grizzlies in Yellowstone or the wild horses, as you said, in Nevada and other western states, or here, elk at Point Reyes Seashore. It's all for the cattle industry. So if you just reduce your beef consumption, you're helping the problem. I mean, it's that simple, and it's that monolithic a problem. And it's so difficult to reach people with that simple message. Just eat. If you can't eat no beef and dairy, just eat less. And that really does help. And there's a whole division in the activist community, as you guys know about. That's not enough. It's got to be all or nothing. And everyone has their different opinion about that. But factually, if you reduce your consumption, that does help. So I try to give it to those people who think I can't live without cheese. Like, okay, if you say so, but at least eat less. And I go, oh, okay, yeah, because everyone can agree to that. It's reasonable. And by the way, I didn't answer your question.
Cheese.
Yeah, and well, there's a lot of wonderful
Talk
cheese.
About that for a moment.
And Miyoko is part of this movement, and she was in one of the photographs there, speaking at a rally that she organized at Point Reyes Station, the little town right outside of Point Reyes. But I wanted to answer your question about how the elk are doing right now.
Yeah, let's get back to that.
Yeah, well, it's mid-July, and we haven't had long, brutal heat waves yet. We've just had some heat, but it's dry. We haven't had rain in, I don't know, Charity might know, a month or two already. I mean, no rain. It's what California does. Nothing significant for months, and it's just going to get hotter and drier. This is what's expected now, and it's worse than it's ever been. And elk are already suffering. I was out there 2 weekends ago, and there are calves, as they're called. The young elk are called calves, like baby cows are also called calves. And they need really good food and lots of it. And all the vegetation is drier. Their natural water sources have dried up, except for a couple tiny little seeps, which will not be enough for 500 elk spread out over inside the reserve and outside the reserve. So it's begun now, and we don't want to wait. The Park Service, and of course the Park Service, it makes you crazy, just recently put up signs. When we told them of this and reached out to them to say, hey, there's not enough water in the park, they put up signs saying, oh yeah, there's plenty, which is exactly what they did last year and the year before, when hundreds of elk died while they were saying, oh, it's fine. And then at the end of the year, they do a count annually and determine that just last year, 72 more elk died. The year before that, 152 elk died in just one season, while we were yelling our heads off and doing this activism. And they're saying, no, it's fine. Trust us. We're the Park Service, and there's adequate water. Same thing they're saying right now, today.
So what can we do? What can we do?
Join us Saturday. Sign up for more action if you're in the Bay Area. And if you're outside the Bay Area, you can support us financially, of course. I think we're providing the URL to, right there. Thank you so much. IdeaUSA.org elk. There's more information at that page and their website and ways to donate to help. You can also, I was going to fit this in. Charity and I have a couple more songs we'd love to do, and it just takes money to produce them, to do them professionally. And she's working at a discount rate, to put it mildly, along with her producer. So, there's so many ways to participate. And by participating, you actually do help. You're empowered versus just, as Charity said earlier, seeing all this negative stuff is really debilitating and exhausting. But to be part of community, as Charity and I were saying earlier today, to be outside among other human beings that you can say hello to safely outside during whatever form of a pandemic we're in now, is heart-opening and empowering and a tonic for these difficult times.
Let's just
and I would add to that, if anybody.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if anybody, lives near, whether it's national park, BLM land, any kind of government-run land where there might be something similar going on, like the horses in Nevada or the grizzlies, the people who are activists at Point Reyes right now, Jack and all these other amazing people, are yes, amazing people, but also just regular people who get passionate about the issue, start organizations, get their butts out there, and just invent creative actions and do something. And so, wherever people live, maybe there's a similar issue where, where the animal agriculture industry is threatening biodiversity. And you could look into that and, see if there's already something going on and join or start your own thing.
And it's so great if they're creatively inclined and they're musically inclined, they can be doing what you guys are doing, because like I said, I think this is just ingenious. The fact that the song is so playable. Let's play it again. Let's play it again for the people that may have just come on, because we have people coming on and off. So let's play the song.
Point Reyes Seashore has some cows, 5,000 cows or so. Oh, Point Reyes Seashore has more cows than any park you know. With a moo-moo here, a moo-moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Point Reyes Seashore has more cows than any park you know. And with these cows there comes cow poop, 10 million pounds or so. With the cow pie here and the cow pie there, here a pie, there a pie, everywhere E. coli. Point Reyes Seashore's yearly poop, 10 million pounds or so. And with cow poop comes poison streams for steelhead and coho. With a sick fish here and a sick fish there, here a fish, there a fish, everywhere a sick fish. Point Reyes cow poop, poison streams, to the ocean it all goes. And at Point Reyes our Tule Elk, no rarer elk you know. Just a few elk here and a few elk there, here an elk but there no elk, not everywhere. Tule Elk, Point Reyes Seashore has some elk, not everywhere you go. And at Point Reyes cow ranchers say, keep those Tule elk away. With an elk fence here and a cow fence there, here a fence, there a fence, everywhere is more fence. Point Reyes ranchers want elk fence to keep elk numbers low. And at Point Reyes the ranchers pay, politicians have a price they say, to huff and puff and clear the way, to mislead voters every day, to keep the ranching scam in play. E-I-E-I-O, but it makes part soils dry and gray, which keeps the wildlife away. This is a sad state there today, but we know a better way to let elk out without delay and move our cows out of the way, reducing methane every day. So won't you help and join the fray to save the earth in every way? Point Reyes cows must you feel sorry for the ranchers, that's really kind of you. But listen up to what went down from another point of view. Oh, they got millions years ago, the public paid them all that dough. The ranchers just refused to go, and big ag lobbies got their back. On public land the cows ransack, it's time for cows to go. Point Reyes Seashore's lawyered up, they talk and talk all day. They talk to keep plain truths at bay, long briefs hide common sense away. As elk keep dying, they will say that lots of death is nature's way, ignoring fences in the way from Pacific Ocean to the bay. This talk here or talk there, but we know of a better way. Let's let elk out without delay and move our cows out of the way, reducing methane every day. So won't you help and join the fray to save the earth in every way? Point Reyes cows must go.
That was just for the people that just tuned in, and we want to tell you that I am here with Jack Gescheidt. He is In Defense of Animal Consultant, In Defense of Animals USA Consultant. Also, his other organization is Tree Spirit Project, and I believe you're a wonderful photographer too, Jack. I know that about you. And Charity Khan, The Invisible Bee, is one of her two websites, and we talked with her last week about her work with children. Unfortunately, we only have about 15 minutes left, and we want to make sure that each of you get a chance to speak about whatever you think you want, whatever you think is important for everyone to know, and more importantly, to do, to take action now. You might want to mention that in the beginning, and then we'll mention it again at the end. So who would like to go first? Charity, why don't you?
I'm going to go.
Choose you.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead because I just wanted to, you inspired me to share that, you know, if anybody's listening also who has children or grandchildren, a wonderful way to, you know, it's hard to talk to kids about things like climate change and animal cruelty. So, you know, part of what I'm doing in my work is trying to create music that addresses these ideas of earth care, loving the earth, loving the animals, you know, that we are all interconnected, interbeing, and create music and experiences for families that, yes, encourage and support plant-based living, and a response to climate change, but also where there's celebration and joy and fun. And so if there's anyone listening who likes the music angle on activism and you've got kids, you can check out my jamjamjam.com website. And that's actually where you'll also find the song which Jack's and my Point Reyes Seashore Has Some Cows song was born out of, which is Old MacDonald Had a Sanctuary Farm, which that's on my website as well. So that's a great song for kids to sing along to, dance along to, and kind of learn about the concept of a type of farm where animals are there to be protected, cared for. They don't have to worry about getting eaten. They don't have to worry about not having enough water and having their babies taken away from them and all that. So, you know, I encourage anybody who, and even if you don't have kids, you might want to go and just listen to the music because it's really uplifting. And if you're in a bad mood and you have despair about the state of the world, you know, whether it's my music or anybody's joyful, positive, uplifting music, don't forget about music as a healing balm. Yeah, and with The Invisible Bee, which is my other project, I've been creating songs like this collaboration with Jack, and also the Tule Elk song, and also a theme song for Plant-Based Treaty, which is a wonderful action that everybody could take right now. Go to plantbasedtreaty.org and sign their incredible commitment to making the world plant-based. And, you know, I've got lots more songs on the list there, collaborations with various vegan folks. And yeah, so I guess use your voice is the one thing I always say is, you know, whatever it is, we don't know what the outcome is of our actions. We don't know, and we shouldn't be attached to that. We should just get out there, take one step, 2 steps, sing one note, sing 2 notes, dance a little dance, and try to use the gifts that we've been given and change the world for the better.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for saying all that. I did put the websites up. Just reminding everyone again, don't stress. They will be pinned right after the broadcast. They will be pinned at the top of this post on all the different media, Twitter, Facebook, not Instagram, what else? Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, et cetera, a couple more. TikTok, yes, it goes to TikTok, it goes to Rizwell, it goes on and on. It doesn't die, let's put it that way. The broadcast. So Jack, we have Jack here. Now, Jack, did you want me to show some of those photos while you speak, or do you want me to just let you have at it?
I'm a photographer. I love to show and tell. So if you want to roll the pictures, and I'll say some stuff, that'd be great.
Okay. So are there any particular ones you wanted to talk about? The fence line. How about the fence line? Can you talk about that? That's an important one.
That is a male Tule Elk, and that is those are 8-foot tall wooden posts. You can't see from that angle with a long lens, but there is a wire mesh in between those fence posts. So that's an impenetrable wall for the elk, looking out the other side of it, saying, huh? Why am I trapped here? And they're just piggybacking what Charity was saying, there's so much to be upset about these days, and every day if you choose to go there, and especially as activists, we kind of choose to go there. So I really try to get as much enjoyment as I can from each day as well, whether that's enjoying a picture of this elk or going out to the park live or into anyone's nature in their backyard, wherever they are. If they're not near, lucky enough to be near a park, and enjoy being outside in the natural world with like-minded, kind-hearted people that the world needs more of, and we need it as individuals as well. So I think Martin Luther King said something to the effect of, you can't fight darkness. You choose to see it that way with more darkness. You need to do that with light, or love and light, as we say here in California all the time.
And a little bit of humor, right? Because look at this poster you've got here.
That's outrageous. Who would create such a thing?
A little bit of humor thrown in there, which always is helpful. Humor, songs, you guys cover it all.
And fun facts, too. Look at the bottom there. It says 5,000 defecating cows. They make 9 million gallons per year of urine and manure put into a national park. What could be wrong with that? What a great idea.
Nice.
Yeah, let's run the American flag there. That makes it okay. Which is, it's just, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this fight here at Point Reyes, or this campaign, which is everyone knows, everyone across the political spectrum, that national parks are places where wild animals should roam free and not be shot at, which is a recent new management plan by the Park Service in the service of ranchers, now gives them authorization to shoot elk in one of the herds as a, get this, management plan. So I have to laugh. Because
to shoot the elk. They're
well, they can
allowed
do so.
to...
They can, there's 12, too many. They picked an arbitrary number, 140. There's currently 152 in this other area. The elk are actually in 3 different areas in the park, but the largest herd is inside the reserve behind that big fence you saw a picture of. Anyway, so they make an arbitrary number and call that the carrying capacity of a fenced off area. And then if it gets over that, they can shoot them. And that's legal now. They can do so whenever they want to. And they're certainly not going to tell us activists they're about to do it. You know, we learn about death after the fact on our own search parties and all the other activists to go out there to keep an eye on the naughty stuff that's going on, which is heartbreaking.
Right. And so what is the hope? Do you think there's a light at the end of the tunnel here with this? I mean, as far as what about the politicians? I mean, when people go to the IDA USA site, will there be petitions to signs and ways to address those folks?
So let me go back to your bigger, more profound, maybe semi-inadvertent question, which is, can we win this thing? I do not have a definitive answer to that, yes or no, but I know that if we give up and say we can't win it, we won't. And that goes for any improvement we can make as a society, as a civilization on planet Earth. If we throw up our hands and say climate crisis is too big, it's too late, we make it so.
Exactly.
That's how powerful we are. And if enough of us can get excited and believe that it's possible to turn things around, even at this late date, cutting it to too close, I believe we can. I choose to believe we can. I choose to be an optimist, because that way I can get out of bed in the morning and do something and try to enjoy my life too. I've never been an activist who's always angry. I get angry and always yelling, although I can yell. Ask my girlfriend. And I just want to be an optimist. So I choose to do things that make me feel better and be around people who, like Charity, are a joy to work with and bring their creativity and their positive energy to this issue and others as well. The planet needs lots of more people to wake up and be activated and do such things.
Okay,
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I have a question for you here. If somebody already signed, can they sign again? Can they go back into the my question is, can they sign a petition at IDA USA to contact some of the politicians that you're singing about, or what's the best way for them to put pressure on the politicians?
Well, at the if they go to the idausa.org/elk site, there is an elk page with lots of different things to do. If you sign one petition, no, do not sign the same petition twice. God bless you. I wish it were so. That would be like, don't get me started on politics. I was about to go to Washington.
Some can be signed more than once. Some petitions can be signed more than once.
Well, what you can do is you can call a politician. In this case, Congressman Jared Huffman is our local congressman, and Dianne Feinstein, not that she's going to do anything, she's in the Senate. But these politicians can be called every day as your wake-up activity if such things interest you, and just keep bugging them. Same with the National Park Service, and just register your complaint. I mean, for me, those things can feel frustrating, but they can also be a great vent if you just want to, say, this is outrageous. I heard about this, and I want you to know I'm really upset. It has some effect. Letters have more effect. Activism has all more effect. And, whatever you're wired to do, people participate in different ways based on their personality and their mood and the day and how much money they're making and all the rest of it, right?
And I think the more people that participate, the stronger the union and the stronger the activists that are working feel. It fires everyone up to keep going. So it's really important. And we have so many wonderful activists out there that follow us and share out our stuff, and I'm asking them to please share this out. Share out the links that we provide to you. And if you haven't signed the petition, please sign. Contact the politicians, let them know you're listening and watching, and that you don't like the sausage comment that was just so obnoxious. And we didn't get into that, but I thought that in the beginning was just showing how they feel exactly. I mean, they're revealing themselves, and are those the people we want representing us? We have to ask ourselves those questions. But folks, we only have a few moments left, so last words. I'll start with you, Jack, and then Charity, because we are running out of time. Go ahead, Jack.
Thank you, Lindsey. So I can be reached personally if anybody wants to, or about this upcoming action on Saturday, which is kind of top secret, but also will be fun and effective, is jack@treespiritproject.com. And if you can't remember that, you can remember Jack G at idausa.org. Both of those emails come to me, and I'm happy to communicate with anybody about this issue and how for you personally to be more involved. And you can see my URL there for my informational page about this issue, treespiritproject.com/elk.
Is there a link there, or is there a way to contact you through the website as well?
Yes, of course. Yes, the website, anywhere on Tree Spirit Project, yes. And then also I am a consultant for the Tule Elk issue with In Defense of Animals. That's this nifty T-shirt, which you can get by coming out to Free the Elk, beautiful. Which is can only happen if well, actually, that's not true. We can do it immediately, but ultimately the cattle have to get removed from 28,000 acres of a national park that they're fouling. Thank you for this platform.
Would it be easier to get them to take down the fence immediately, though, wouldn't it?
Yes, they can. They can do that immediately without ill effect. Absolutely.
And with that, if they do that, will that give the elk enough water, sufficient water for the summer? Or
tricky, subtle answer. Well, the elk won't. It's sort of the metaphor about the bird in the cage. You open the cage door, and the bird doesn't know the door is open because it's lived that way for so long. Over time, the elk would find their way out, but that needs to happen anyway. And of course, in the meantime, we can bring them supplemental water. But the supplemental water is just a Band-Aid for the problem, which is they're behind fencing, and they shouldn't be in a national park.
And it's not exactly easy, is it, to bring the water? It's not easy.
No, it's a physical task involving people using their bodies out in nature. But hey, you bring a lunch, and afterwards you can hang out with people in a national park, which is a rather nice, fun thing to do.
It is a fun thing to do, but I mean, for you guys to have to do that over and over is just, as you say, a Band-Aid. It's not the solution.
Correct. But we're trying to save elk lives at this point. It's triage, if you will. Yeah.
You have to do what you have to do. I get it. Thank you for doing that. Charity, we still have a few moments, and we'll run over a little bit if we have to, because we want to give you a chance to say a few last words. Not last words, but for tonight, just say
famous last words.
Yes.
I mean, I actually want to thank you, Lindsey, because the thing that keeps me going with all this stuff, one of the things is breaking through the isolation, right? It can be so despairing and so overwhelming, and we can feel as individuals like, what's the point of my little small action? But every time I'm together with even one or two other people that care deeply and we're in conversation and we're sharing all the different things that we're doing to try to make a difference. And, you could see in that Tule Elk video, all the activists that are out, coming out and carrying the water, wearing the suits, and just you providing this platform for us to get together and talk and just share our concern, but also our celebration of like, yes, we can make a difference, is really just such a gift. And I just appreciate that a lot. So
Oh, thank
yes, people
you.
can find me at
My pleasure.
jamjamjam.com or invisiblebee.com. And also, like, this show is awesome and you're awesome.
Oh, thank you. And you guys are awesome.
Thank
Well,
No,
everyone,
you're awesome.
everyone, if you could please take this action now. These elk are dying of thirst. It's horrific. They're in a national park, a national reserve. Don't let these politicians get away with this. We have to stand up to them. I don't know your political views, but on every level, we the people should have our voice. So please have your voice. Help us with this one. Thank you guys for being on. And we'll be back.
you.
To answer your question, Tom, I won't be on this Saturday, but next week I will be back. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.